Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get started, and I'll ask you all to stand to welcome the platform party and the faculty down the stairs and up to the stage. Please stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the graduating class of 2018? I should have warned you that this is a big class and that you're going to be doing a lot of clapping in the course of this afternoon. One last time, ladies and gentlemen, the grad class of 2018. We're very proud of them. Parents, grandparents, and other honoured guests, members of the Board of Governors, alumni, students, and friends. Would you please remain standing while Kerry Walker leads us in O Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Kerry. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously a very warm welcome to you all to the last act of our school year, our annual closing day awards ceremony. We're obviously very aware of the conditions, and I hope that breeze stays with us. It is absolutely perfect, blue sky, sunshine, but we need the breeze. We'll have lots of sunscreen available if you need it, and our prefect group in waiting will be circulating with water. Please hail them as you see fit. Okay, I'm not used to bringing the house down just quite this early. The next thing I was actually going to say was we've actually supplied more tent coverage than ever when it stays up. What a beautiful day it is, though, ladies and gentlemen. A beautiful day in prospect. This diamond that is Shawnigan Lake School is sparkling today. I'd like to tell you all that the ceremony is going out by live feed to those friends and relatives of Shawnigan who can't be with us today. Now, my first pleasant task is to introduce our distinguished platform party. On my far left is Mr. Matt Clinton Baker, the Director of Student Life. I'll get them all to stand together. So, Mr. Matt Clinton Baker, Director of Student Life. On my right is Ms. Erica Dalrymple, the Director of Residential Life, and on my far right is Ms. Wendy Milne, the Assistant Head in charge of Academics. I want to recognize all three of them at the same time because without a Deputy Head this last year, these three have just put their collective shoulders to the wheel and done an absolutely stellar job of running the school, while the headmaster was off swanning all over the world on his farewell tour. So please, I'll ask them to stand and take a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you, guys. Yes, you're next. On my left, my lovely wife, Lynn. Together, we have been absolutely humbled by the tributes that have happened this year. And one of the things that's emerged is that this woman who pretends not to like the limelight or the microphone has revealed a whole new side of herself when asked to stand and speak. So I'm going to do that today. No, I'm not. Is it? Anyway, give her a round of applause for putting up with me. We do have a number of the governors of Shawnigan Lake School who are here, and I'd ask them to stand and be recognized for the terrific work that they've done and continue to still do in support of the school. So when I read your name out, governors, please stand. Mr. Carl Bradley, Mrs. Belle Akinasoye, Mr. Rick Bourne, Mrs. Jacqueline Flett, Mrs. Kelly Gav, Mr. Ollie Lauren, Mrs. Catherine Shaw, and Mr. Stephen Wong. To the governors, past and present, a huge thank you for your support and passion. And if I follow instructions, which, as you know, I'm not terribly good at, I'm good at issuing them, but following them I've never been good at. But it does say here that I have to invite Jacqueline Flett and Carl Bradley up for a presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Flett. I'm an alum of the school, class of '97, Groves House.
Carl Bradley, year 78, Groves House.
Woo!
I hear it's the best house, the best stuff comes from it. So in my year, it was an all-boys house and an all-boys school. Not for Jacqueline. So, well, Mr. and Mr. Robinson, this is it. The final countdown. Yes, and well done, we must say.
Mr. Robertson, as two governors of the Shawnigan Lake School Board, and on behalf of all the governors here and those who couldn't be here, Carl and I are very grateful for this opportunity to thank you for your leadership of Shawnigan Lake School, particularly over the last 18 years as head.
And in our thanks, we most definitely include Lynn Robertson. As you, David, has often stated over the years, you would not have been able to pull your headship off without Lynn by your side. Anybody who has spent a moment with Lynn in any one of the many capacities she has selflessly served this school over the years is aware that our institution was doubly blessed.
Mr. Robertson, it has been our pleasure to work with you. You have often stated that the goal of Shawnigan is to create excellent human beings. Thank you both for exemplifying everything that Shawnigan stands for and for being two excellent human beings.
Without further ado, we are delighted to present to both of you this bronze relief in recognition of your steadfast and courageous leadership at the helm of Shawnigan Lake School. This is from the Board of Governors. One more thing. From the board as well, we have a photograph to present to you, also from the Board of Governors. This is the Robertson family in front of the headmaster's residence.
Wow. Thank you. That's incredibly special and so appreciated. Carl, Jacqueline, thank you so much, and the whole Board of Governors. Headmasters aspire to have boards of governors that work with them and don't treat them as if the headmaster is working for them. So it's a teamwork exercise, and when it's a teamwork exercise, it yields what we see around us, and it's been a great joy for me. Thank you. All right. I have to continue. So I thought that since this is my last closing day address, or at least I think it's my last one, that I would I'd keep it short, under 2 hours. Yeah, I'm only joking. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, just the other day, I was helping one of our grade 8s with her Scottish accent for her impending performance of Shrek. And it made me chuckle, but it also took me back. And that's what happens when you're at my stage of life and career. You're constantly connecting to so many memories that you've gathered on your journey. It's like the closing words of The Great Gatsby, for those of you who remember it. And so we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Well, there I was, explaining to Brianna how to say, "Not now, donkey," and "Get out my swamp," when I was transported back to the stage of the old Assembly Hall, now the Wilkinson Theatre, and the staff review back in the day when we used to do them. Staff review 2004, where I was cast as the big green ogre, and my line was, "Headmasters are like onions, they have layers." There's a bit of typecasting going on now, I think. Ogre, Scottish. I'm not sure that anyone else even remotely recalls it, but in my book, it was the stuff of legend. Or as they say in Scotland, I was a legend in my own lunchtime. Then as I reflected a little more on the line, I thought of the whole metaphor of a headmaster's role as being like those layers slowly being peeled back over the years with the multitude of human interactions, complete, of course, as we've seen this year, with the inevitable tears. Then, fortunately, I gave up on the metaphor and returned to the job at hand, the task of finding the right words that would do justice to this special occasion. Before I strike too somber or serious a note, I would normally tell you a little Scottish joke right about now. But my store of them, sadly, is empty. Can you believe it? They've all, that's applause, they've all been told. They've all been told. Did you know that there are only 50 clean Scottish jokes in existence? And I've used them all up in the last 25 years. How fitting is that? I'm nearly done and the humour has run out. Or as my son, my youngest, said yesterday, tongue in cheek, "The jokes are all used up, and so are you, Dad." I thought that was a bit harsh. Thanks, Struan. Some of my friends from England have just started talking to me again. So I'm not going to spoil that with some second-rate story poking fun at them, I promise. I'm just going to quietly smile at the timing and the irony of it all. So over the course of this amazing year, I've expressed the notions of time passing and the journeys that we've all been on, and indeed that we're still on. We're on these journeys in our lives in 100 different ways, but it does always come back to the same conclusion, that of the story that I've told a few times in chapel of trying to find something that makes you sad when you're happy and happy when you're sad. In the story I tell, the solution was a ring inscribed with the phrase, "This too shall pass," a powerful reminder of the finite nature of everything, good or bad. The famous poet T.S. Eliot captured a similar sentiment when he wrote, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know that place for the first time." Ladies and gentlemen, for 25 years, Lynn and I have had the privilege, along with so many other fine members of the Shawnigan staff, both past and present, the privilege of living the intensity of each school year and exploring how we could create and recreate the culture in which each new crop of young souls could thrive and grow. Then each September, we'd start all over again. It would be the same but different, as that is one of the true joys of working with young people. No two of them are the same, and they'll all be different tomorrow from what they were yesterday. It's that enthusiasm, that energy, that compassion, that character, and that optimism that causes all to know this place for the first time so effectively each September. As I said at the centennial celebrations, there is no finer calling than the privilege of working with young people to help them grow in mind, body, and spirit. 100 years of Shawnigan men and women have known this, and their collective labour of love has led the school to where it is today. This year's staff, the 102nd year of knowing this, are all around these beautiful grounds, and of course many of them are gathered right here in front of me. I cannot state forcefully enough how grateful I am personally, and we are as a school, to these talented people of character who pour themselves into this lifestyle and who embrace so completely our vision and our values. Many schools have an outstanding staff, but none have a better one than Shawnigan. So may I ask you to join with me in recognizing the quality of the people who work here, and help me to say a huge thank you to them all for the incredible commitment that they make, the Shawnigan staff. As I've said many times, the magic doesn't happen without the magicians. I would like to recognize publicly, if I may, those august members of that body who are retiring and who have given a significant part of their lives to the school in every way. I'd ask our retirees to stand and be recognized for their very considerable contributions to our school. Jenny Ferris for 13 years, Gaynor Strobel for 19 years, and Sean Wright for 21 years. So now, students, you'll be relieved. The good news is that I'm not going to do that exercise of having different groups and teams standing up and sitting down endlessly. That's the good news. And conversely, there's no bad news. It's only good news if you scroll through the archived weekly updates on the website, or if you thumb through the admirable yearbook that we have. You can see so many powerful moments of endeavour, of emotion, of education in its broadest sense, and essential humanity at its finest. That's why we will all reflect on the year 2017-2018 as another hugely successful one for the school. So ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you again to join me in congratulating our student body and thanking them for making this journey with us and for doing it all so very well. The students, wherever they are. Of course, the leadership of this group over here, our grade 12s, has been crucial, but more of that later. If you watched our grads come down, you will have seen that they're all wearing a rose, as they usually do. Do they usually do that? One of the things you forget to do as a headmaster is pay attention to the details in these ceremonies. They usually wear a carnation. This year they're wearing a rose. And you may have noticed that I'm wearing a rose, which I don't usually do. And to be honest, I've been a little obsessed by the symbolism of the rose recently. It all started when Ms. Tyrrell's lovely chamber choir, whom you heard in the chapel perhaps, it all started when they sang the Bette Midler song, The Rose, a few months ago in chapel. I've been playing it endlessly. It's a beautiful song in its own right with subtlety and poetry behind the powerful notes, but its message of the resilience of love and its ability, love's ability to grow again no matter what the adversity that befalls us, resonates so well for me, and I hope for some of you too. I wish I could play it for you right now, but instead I hope that you heard it as we were processing in. With lines like, "It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live." The message is so appropriate to today's theme. One of my early childhood memories, now we're going back a bit, and yes, it was before we had TV, was one of my wise old uncles. I had lots of uncles. I had 8 on my dad's side alone. My wise old uncle's always reciting something about gathering roses because life was short. It was in my head, this. It stayed with me as a sort of carpe diem approach to life. And you can imagine my delight when I was at university years later studying English literature, and I came upon the actual poem that he had been trying to quote, that he'd only recalled partially and inaccurately. It was Robert Herrick writing in the 17th century, and it begins, "Gather ye rosebuds while you may, old time it is a flying, and this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying." What a very appropriate message, a little somber, but they were like that in the 17th century. What a very appropriate message for a group of young people embarking on the next stage of their lives. But of course, it's another reminder to us all to live every day of our lives. Not just get through them, live them. "Dare to Live" is another of my favorite songs, as some of you know. At the wonderful gala that Lynn and I were treated to back in April, it was performed beautifully and memorably by Shannon Tyrrell and Ken Levine, Grace's father. The concept is worth repeating, and the song is worth listening to if you haven't. Dare to live. That urgency is good for us as it challenges us, and we're at our best when we're challenged, as you heard the chaplain say so well in the chapel. That may sound obvious to us all here, as it is essentially woven into the DNA of this school, but that sadly is not the case everywhere. These fabulous young people distributed around these gardens, and who are just getting permission now to remove their wool blazers, well, that was a good test to see if you're listening. Just remember to put them back on again if you're coming up for an award. As I was saying, these fabulous young people of Shawnigan have proved again and again that they will rise to wherever we set the bar. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the absolute secret of it all. Without that, all that growth, all those achievements, all those moments that we recognized earlier and that we're going to recognize shortly would not have been the same. Today, as you know, is especially about the blue chair section, as I call them over here, the graduating class of 2018. And I want to keep the focus squarely on them. There have been some exceptional moments for them already today, and I trust that there will be some more before the last hug and the last fond farewell. In their latest book, The Power of Moments, which I highly recommend to you, by the way, the Heath brothers, Chip and Dan, explore how we can actually create special moments as well as just having them happen naturally. They articulate how when we reflect on our past, that it is a series of moments that we summon to mind, just as we're doing at Shawnigan today, and our grads have been doing for the last few months. They go on to explain how we can consciously construct even more defining moments. And again, it becomes an exercise in deliberately keeping some of the key elements top of mind. As they remind us, we feel most comfortable when things are certain, but we feel most alive when things are not. Capturing and preserving those special moments and using them to inform the lives we lead, that is a life well lived. My hope today, here in this beautiful setting, is that you will be leaving with your head and your heart full of special moments, as I know we are. I should have been leaving you today with a plethora of indispensable nuggets of wisdom gleaned from a lifetime of intense involvement with schools. That might just be the book that eventually gets written. But instead, I want to leave you with an emphasis on those feelings, those moments of connection when you're there completely, concentrating and taking it all in. Remember that one of the greatest gifts we can give other people is our absolute attention. It's harder than ever these days, as you know, with all the competing distractions. But this I have learned. If you are completely there in the moment when you're engaging with someone, it has a much greater chance of becoming something meaningful. As the sign I saw recently captured so simply and so well, be here now, be somewhere else later. Is that so complicated? Grads, you're indeed here now, perhaps for the last time for a while. You have become part of something bigger and longer lasting than you might have imagined. Stay true to the people that you've become. Dare to live. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because the world needs people. What the world needs most is more people who have come alive. But always treat others with kindness and respect, for I hope that we've tried to teach you that. The most beautiful people are often those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of any depths. These individuals have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen. Continue to be beautiful people, all of you, as that's the Shawnigan we will all take with us. Lynn and I both know that Shawnigan will be a part of us forever. I hope fervently that it will be for you as well, grads. In closing, I return to T.S. Eliot's words when he wrote, "For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. And to make an end is to make a beginning." Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you all. You know, in the headmaster's world, you know that you've done okay when Lynn doesn't say to you, "Oh, that was fine." When she actually says, "That was good." Oh, wow, I've made it. Thank you. Okay, now where am I? Where am I? Get on with things, Robertson. Okay. So as we now move on to the recognition part of today's ceremonies, a reminder about photos. Photos are being taken of each award winner and graduate in today's ceremony. I would ask that all parents, grandparents, friends let Arden Gill, our talented school photographer, take a photo first before trying to capture the moment yourselves. Arden will have her photos available for downloading in the days following the ceremony. This is the presentation mat for all of you who come down here. Apparently I'm on the red cross. I'm not sure what the red is significant of, maybe my face. And then there's a blue cross next to it. This is the presentation mat. Okay, so we're going to start with our house awards. For a school with the motto Palmam qui meruit furat, let the rewards go to those who have worked to earn them, today is the final stage in our closing recognition. And of course, forever proud of being a boarding school, we start with our house awards. I will invite the house director and, where appropriate, the head of house up to present these awards. And the first one up is the Spirit of Copeman's Trophy. It's presented by David Hidley and the head of house, James Petropoulos, not to include the head of house. The Spirit of Copeman's Trophy is awarded to the boy who best exemplified house spirit in terms of effort, sportsmanship, and morale. This year's winner is Julius Meyer. The Duxbury Crystal is going to be presented by Mr. Paul Doig and the head of house, Carter Miller. It does not include the head of house in the award. It is awarded, it's awarded to the senior student who best displays the qualities of integrity, honesty, and a healthy lifestyle. This year's winner is Owen Cumming. Ms. Katrina Cholak is going to come forward and present the Spirit of Groves House Trophy. This trophy, originally presented by Sue Nunes, the first female director of the house, is presented to the girl in Groves House who best exemplifies the qualities of dedication, leadership, and integrity. This year's winner is Naya Miranda. The Spirit of Kay's House Trophy is going to be presented by Ms. Erica Plater, a Kay's House girl herself. The trophy is awarded annually to the young women in Kay's House whose enthusiasm and citizenship best exemplify house spirit. It was presented by the Brum family to honour Henry Brum. This year's winner is Zoe Kogloff. the Lakes House Award next. Mr. Wes Plater is coming forward. This trophy, donated by the Pasquale and Wyatt families, is presented to the boy in Lakes House who best exemplifies the qualities of leadership, hard work, sportsmanship, and above all integrity, for which John Lake, for whom Lakes is named, stood. This year's winner is Ethan Hersant. Done. Lonsdale's House. The C.W. Lonsdale's Prize is going to be presented by Mr. Andrew Monroe and the head of house, James MacDonald. The award was donated by a parent of a boy in Lonsdale's House. It is awarded annually to the boy in Lonsdale's who best exemplifies the qualities of leadership and example established by the founder of the school. This year's winner is Vaiho Castagnoli. Ms. Andrea Carballo is going to present the Renfrew House Award with Alexis Welsh? Not with Alexis Welsh. This award was donated by Wendy Milne, former House Director of Renfrew, and Erica Dalrymple, a past parent. This award is presented to the member of Renfrew House who best demonstrates the qualities of loyalty, honesty, and citizenship. This year, it is won jointly by Alexis Welsh and Tsewang Dickey. Mr. Andrew Doyle comes forward to present the Alexander Bailey Ripley Cup. The current trophy was donated by Rod and Gaynor Samuel to mark the conclusion of their 16-year tenure in the running of Ripley's House. It is awarded to the Ripley's Grade 12 who has best represented the values, standards and expectations that Rod always embraced and role modelled. Acta non verba. This year's winner is Dean Mason. Ms. Maureen Connolly is stepping forward to present the Strathcona Schoolhouse Bowl. This award, donated by Beth and Mark Hall, the first house parents of Strathcona Schoolhouse, is presented to the girl who embodies the true blue spirit of the house. She's nominated for this award by her housemates for being genuine, faithful, committed, loyal and dependable. Joint winners this year, Toby Akinosoye and Bobby Weir. Thank you. So now we're moving on to some competition results. And of course, as you know, we're just a tiny, tiny little bit competitive around Shawnigan. I'm going to ask Mrs. Erica Dalrymple to come forward and present the Interhouse Academic Shield. So I'm going to read out a number of names and details, but the overall winner is the only one that is coming forward. So the girls and boys compete for the same shield. In the girls' competition, the first term, the winning house was Kay's house. In the second term, the winning house was Kay's house. And in the third term, you guessed it, the winning house was Kay's house. In the boys' section, the first term, the winning house was Lake's house. In the second term, the winning house was Lake's house. And the third term, the winning house was Lake's house. But the overall winner was Kay's house. Mrs. D, you're staying there. Erica is going to present the Interhouse Challenge Trophy for the girls. This is the Hidley Trophy, and it was presented originally by Derek and Mary Hidley to be awarded annually to the winning girls' house that has accumulated the most points in the Interhouse competitions throughout the year. And as you know, we do Interhouse everything at Shawnigan, from recycling to rowing. In third place, I'm not going to read the house out, but the third place was 204 points, the second place was 205 points, and the winning house was 215 points, and that would be Strathcona Schoolhouse. Eric is going to present the Interhouse Challenge Trophy for the boys, which is the C.W. Lonsdale Cup. It was presented by the family of the founder in commemoration of the life and work of our founder, Christopher Windley Lonsdale. It's awarded to the boys' house that has accumulated the most points in interhouse competitions throughout the year. The third place had 184 points, second place had 190 points, the winning house had 215 points, and the winning house is... The winning house, the headmaster's just going to... No, I know who the winning house is. The winning house is Lonsdale's house. Well done, thank you. Bit of drama is good for us all. I'm going to ask Mrs. Wendy Milne to come forward and present the academic prizes. Students, I can't even see you, but I know you're back there somewhere. So come up, please come up in the order that I read your names. And all three, if I announce three names, all three of you come up. These are year marks, and in grade 8, in third place with a percentage of 93.2 was Edward Rushworth. In second place with 93.8 was Joanna Zhu. And in first place with 97.6, Grace Levine. Come down. Moving on to grade 9. In third place with 92.2 was Paige Murdy. Second place with 93.2, Abigail Dyer. And in first place with 94.6%, Seiya Tanaka Campbell. Memo to self, do not put grade 8s and 9s so far away. Sorry, that should have been memo to successor. Thank you. Moving on to grade 10. In third place with 95.2%, Ava Schumacher. In second place with 96%, Kylie Kim. And in first place with 96.8%, Sophie Miranda. Thank you. Moving on to grade 11. In third place with 94%, Mia Liang. In second place with 94.6%, Bonita Chang. And in first place with 95.8%, Angelina Huang. And in grade 12, in third place with 95%, Ivy Shang. In second place with 96%, Christina Shen. And in first place with 97% in grade 12, Kyle Murdy. Thank you. And in Shawnigan parlance, the head student is Shawnigan's top academic award. It's given to the student with the highest academic average from his or her combined grade 11 and 12 marks. Name on the honours board in the main hall. This year's winner with 96.5% is Kyle Murdy. Kyle. We're now going to move on to some of our special awards, and the first ones I'm going to do are the Shaw Scholarships, and I'm going to call up Ms. Catherine Shaw to help me with this. The Shaw Scholarships were established in 2006 by Mr. Jim Shaw, an alumnus and legacy donor of Shawnigan Lake School. As everyone knows, perhaps, we tragically lost Jim in December last year. A very sad time indeed for all of us. Jim's wife, Catherine, had already embraced the vision of paying forward a life-changing experience to young people, and she's here to congratulate our graduating Shaw Scholars and confirm our continuing ones for this distinguished award. The terms of the scholarship demonstrate the Shaw's attitude to youth and education. The citation reads, "Recipients of the Shaw Scholarships will be young men and women who have the right qualities to respond to challenge and opportunity. They may not yet be fulfilling their potential in some areas, but they will definitely have shown signs of character, talent, and sound values. A willingness to embrace the well-rounded approach to life and a capacity for hard work are prerequisites for the scholarship holders, as is a sense of social responsibility, which will manifest itself in their willingness to help others. Furthermore, it is expected that winners of these major awards will commit to help fund another student through the school at some point in the future." So I'm going to invite up our graduating Shaw Scholars. Graduating today are Ava Bampton, Isabella Cabana, Ben Curley, Flynn Dowie, and Shiza Kermani. And I'm and then I'm inviting our continuing Shaw Scholars up. We have Tatum Hayhurst, Caleb Parkhouse, Katie Petropoulos, Maya Vanderhyde, Gracie McAllister, Annika Bellero, and Kate Hamilton. Come forward, please. Thank you, Catherine. So I'm now going to invite two great friends of mine, Mr. and Mrs. Sam and Jackie Park, to come forward to present the Jason Yosung Park Scholarship. This scholarship was created by the Park family in 2011 to commemorate the all too short life of Jason Park, 05 Cobmans. This award will be made annually to a student entering grades 11 or 12. The recipient will embody many of the character traits that made Jason so loved and esteemed by his family and this school. He or she will have the ability to generate goodwill in all circles and a moral compass that is strong and inspiring. Winners of the award will embrace fierce competitiveness and the highest standards of personal deportment. They will be both loyal and steadfast. The scholarship includes a marvelous visit to Korea hosted by the Park family and has become something very special to Shawnigan. This year's winner of the Jason Yosung Park Scholarship is Roberto Galindo. I'm going to invite Lynn forward now to present the Jim Marlowe Scholarships. The Jim C. Marlowe Class of 73 endowed scholarships will be awarded to deserving students who are recognized by the school for qualities of integrity, citizenship, sportsmanship and leadership, and who show a strong commitment to their academics as well as the program in general. It is expected that one of these scholarships, once won, will remain with the student throughout his or her Shawnigan career. We have 5 Marlowe scholarships this year, and they are Atusa Furbud, Jojo Tanaka Campbell, Dalen Marlowe, Bridget Persson, and Nicole Lavin. You don't get off that easily. We're moving on to the Hidley Scholarships. Established in 1995, the Hidley Scholarships are dedicated to the memory of Mary and Derek Hidley, whose combined service and dedication to this school cannot be measured. While Mary and Derek both deeply respected pure academic achievement, they held a particular fondness for students whose strength of character was demonstrated in other ways. In consultation with the Hidley family, it was decided that these scholarships would be awarded to students identified by their optimistic nature, compassion for others, and a full commitment to the task at hand. It's expected that one of these scholarships, once won, will remain with the student throughout his or her Shawnigan career. Holding a Hidley Scholarship is McKinley Bourne, and new this year are Michaela Brennan McCann, Nathan Goliath, and Maggie Banks. We now move on to the John M.S. Leckie Scholarships. Awarded for the first time in June 2006, these scholarships are in memory of John Macmillan Sterling Leckie, a great visionary and benefactor of Shawnigan Lake School, whose untimely passing in February 2003 saddened us all. The scholarship will be awarded annually to students who would benefit from the opportunities offered at Shawnigan. Recipients would have already exhibited some of the talent, the character, and the leadership potential that could see them go on to significant achievements in school and beyond. They should be honest, hard-working individuals, motivated by a desire to pursue excellence and imbued with a declared passion for rowing. The two current Leckie scholars in the school are Claudia Norris and Hannah Narraway. They both graduate this year, And the winners of the 2018 Lecky Scholarships are Drayden Fontana and Alexi Fulton. Is Alexi coming? Yeah. There you go. You organize it. Well done. The next award is the Aaron Ram Memorial Award, and I'm going to ask Mrs. Margaret Ram to come forward and present this. Is Melanie? And Melanie's here too. This award is in memory of Aaron Copeman's 05, whose young life was cut short all too soon in 2010. This award will be presented annually to the boy or girl in grade 12 whose career at Shawnigan has been characterized by a quiet determination and a positive, optimistic nature, enhanced by an unfailing sense of humor. Recipients will be remembered for their consistent commitment to the school, the house, and their friends. They will have shown reliability and an admirable resilience in meeting challenges and overcoming them. This year's winner is Marcus Tizindi. Thank you. Thank you, the Rams. The next award is the Robertson Award, apparently. Yes, it is. That's what it says here. The Robertson Award is going to be presented by David and Lynn Robertson. This new award was created. I'm just following. I'm doing what I'm told. You know, I told you I didn't. This new award was created by the Shawnigan Parents Association in honour of David and Lynn Robertson's leadership during their 25 years at the school. This award will be given annually to a graduating student who has consistently shown the character and the moral fibre that David and Lynn prize so highly. The recipient will have maintained a strong commitment to the values of the school's credo. This is Shawnigan. Despite any adversity that may have come his or her way, a $5,000 check will accompany the trophy to be used for the next stage of the winner's educational journey, hence the Inukshuk, to guide them on their way. The inaugural winner of the Robertson Award, I'm delighted to tell you, is Barbara Heidley. Back on. Lynn is now going to present the Kenyon Chaplains Award. This award was donated by the Kenyon family and recognizes the young man or young woman in the graduating class who has so embraced the whole Shawnigan experience that their personal growth and development are remarkable. The award includes a check to help with future plans. This year's winner of the Kenyon Chaplains Award is Maddie Canyon. And the next award is the Spirit of the Class of 1969 Award. That's Rick Bourne's class. It's presented on an annual basis to the graduating student who best promotes cooperation, trust, and class spirit in his or her graduation year. The award is chosen by the graduating class themselves. This year's winner is Guy Sala de Melo Costa. The boy from Brazil. I'm going to invite Mr. Bruce Anderson from the class of 77 forward to say a few words about the Donald MacLeod Anderson Leadership Award.
Hello everyone, my name is Bruce Anderson and I have the great privilege to award the Anderson Leadership Award one more time. As an Anderson, I've been involved with Shawnigan since I was about 7 years old. That is when my oldest brother started here and also when my dad became chairman of the board. Shawnigan had very little money in those days, and that meant two things. One was that my dad took the headmaster out of the school to go find students. He did an exceptionally good job, and essentially he saved the school. And you all know him as the name on the Performing Arts Center, Hugh Wilkinson. He also saved a student. Leadership is about making sure you don't leave anyone behind, looking after all of the people you're involved with. And he saved a student who, at the end of grade 8, his parents were having a difficult time. That paid off in spades. For that student is Carl Bradley, now one of the biggest contributors to the school. Where are you, Carl? Thank you, well done. Not having any money in those days also meant that I had to have breakfast with teachers and headmasters in our house in Vancouver because they couldn't afford hotels. I was one of 4 Anderson brothers who came here. We were all in Coatmans, and in fact we had David Hidley's dad, Derek, as our housemaster. Since then there's been one Anderson daughter come to school, and next year there'll be another. As the chairman, my dad was here to hand me my graduation certificate, and tragically, he died just 4 years later of cancer. I'd started traveling by then, and I was living in Australia, and when I returned to Canada, I asked the school if we could put an award in his name. We came up with the concept of a leadership award because it was the opposite of the Groves All Arounder. You can win our award for being great at just one thing as long as you excel in it, and you inspire others to excel in it as well. My dad was a great leader. He was a quiet man, but he inspired everyone around him, and he inspired all his 5 sons to be entrepreneurs and leaders ourselves. We all run our own businesses or are presidents or owners of our business. It's now been 30 years since we've been giving out this award, and it's been quite fantastic. Students from all sorts of sports and endeavors have won this award, from volleyball to painting to sailing to performing arts, United Nations, and so many more. It's been absolutely thrilling to see this happen. This year, I want to break with a slight tradition. I'd like to celebrate 2 great leaders. I'd ask you first, from a leadership point of view, to celebrate David Robertson. We all know what a fantastic job David has done here at the school. Secondly, I'd like to celebrate this year's winner, and I'll ask David to announce it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. So this award is awarded to the student whose involvement and leadership qualities have contributed most significantly to the success of a particular program or the Shawnigan experience overall. This year's recipients, 2 of them, threw themselves courageously into the task of moving our Model United Nations Conference from our school campus to the conference centre in Victoria. This bold step took Shawman to the next level in a big way, with more participants than ever taking part. So this year's winners of the Donald MacLeod Anderson Leadership Award are Hallie Campbell and Owen Cumming. Thank you, Bruce. I'm going to invite Ms. Doreen Dean forward, please, to present the Doreen Dean Award for the Performing Arts. Doreen is our much loved past parent, past musical makeup team leader, etc., etc., etc. The Doreen Dean Award is presented to a graduating student who exemplifies the qualities Mrs. Dean brought to the Performing Arts program during her 2 decades of service to the school. Candidates have demonstrated a selfless, enthusiastic and passionate approach to the performing arts during their Shawnigan career. They have a boundless love for performing and continually role model both commitment and collaboration throughout the creative process. Consideration will be given to those performers who are not afraid to take risks and who have explored the multiple facets offered through Shawnigan's Performing Arts program. The winner blends the passion and compassion necessary to be a truly great performing artist. This year's winner, all the way from Russia, is Alice Golovkina. Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to ask Mr. Don Ralston, long-time Shawnigan staff member and Head of Fine Arts, to come forward and present the award in his name. The Donald G. Ralston Award for the Visual Arts is presented to a graduating student who has demonstrated passion, commitment and excellence in the visual arts during his or her Shawnigan career. Has been an avid learner, devoting extracurricular time to developing his or her skills, and has encouraged others to pursue excellence in the arts by acting as a tutor and mentor. This year's winner is Zoe Colclough. Mr. Matt Clinton Baker is going to present the first of the Captain's Trophies. The Captain's Trophy female is awarded to a female athlete in grade 10, 11 or 12 for outstanding athletic ability and all-round contribution to sports at the first team level. She possesses more than skill and athleticism. She's an individual who energizes and motivates others in both practice and competition, and in so doing, enhances the success and enjoyment for all participants. Originally chosen by the captains of the major sports, hence its name on the honours boards in the main building. This year's winner is Hazel Bice. And The captain's trophy for the boys has exactly the same citation. Name on the honours boards in the main building. This year's winner is Ben Curley. MCB is going to present now the Pulley Cup. It's awarded to the girl at first team level who has displayed not only a high standard of performance, but enthusiasm, good conduct and sportsmanship in victory and defeat. Name on the honours board in the main building. This year's winner, Avery Champion. The male equivalent is the Sportsmanship Cup, and it is the same citation and recognizes an outstanding male athlete. A superb hockey player and golfer, this year's winner is Ryan Novikowski. Thank you, MCB. We're now going to present the Eagle Feather Award, and I'm going to ask last year's winner, Mr. Eric Venables, to come forward and do that. In First Nations culture, the eagle feather symbolizes, among other things, wisdom, courage, and leadership. This award is made annually to the Shawnigan staff member who is nominated by the students as having shown the extra leadership and mentoring that distinguish that individual in an already heavily committed group of talented people of character. The winner will have shown a willingness to go the extra mile for the students and an ability to bring out the best in them, thereby contributing significantly to the overall quality of their experience. The beautiful trophy was hand-carved by artist George Yearsley and donated by the Richardson family in 2009 as a tribute to the Shawnigan teaching staff. We had 35 different staff members nominated more than once by our students, which is a telling testimony to the quality of the people we have. This year's winner, I'm delighted to announce, is Ms. Kerry Bell. Thank you. So I'm now going to move on to the Stag Awards. We are getting closer to the end than the beginning, I have to tell you, I have to reassure you. The Stag Awards were created in 1961 by the school's third headmaster and have remained among our most prestigious awards. They were joined in 1982 by the Shawnigan Awards for those female members of the Shawnigan family who had distinguished themselves in exactly the same way. To signal the beginning of the school's second century, in June 2016, the awards were amalgamated into one by the 12th headmaster, that would be me, and will hereafter be known simply as Stag Awards, irrespective of gender. The purpose of the award, it was and is to recognise appreciatively all those who have contributed to the life and well-being of Shawnigan Lake School, so that it can be said that Shawnigan is a better place in consequence of the contribution they have made. A Stag Award is presented to Dean Mason, whose leadership was appreciated most by the student body whom he represented so wholeheartedly. There is nothing fancy or pretentious about this young man, and this suits him just fine. Dean is comfortable in his own skin and worked hard to develop a leadership style that played to his qualities of approachability, integrity, and inclusiveness. As head of school, Dean worked steadily and solidly to make the student voice heard and to make sure that he left his beloved school in better shape than he found it. Whether it was serving as a popular and hard-working head of house, rampaging around the rugby pitches, or serving his school community, Dean was a leader who made his presence felt. It can truly be said that Shawnigan is a better place in consequence of his having been here. Dean Mason. A Stag Award is presented to Sean Wright, Lakes 85, who has worked tirelessly for the last 21 years steering the school through the ever-changing world of technology. Sean's steady hand and expertise have ensured that we were able to embrace the onset of IT safely and productively, and we remain deeply grateful to him for the many long hours spent on our behalf. Admirably, Sean was always available day or night to solve any problem. A very proud Shawnigan man, Sean will always be connected to this school, and it can truly be said that Shawnigan is a better place in consequence of the many contributions that he has made. Sean Wright. A Stag Award is presented to David William Hidley, a graduate of Shawnigan Lake School, Lakes 81, and a member of one of Shawnigan's most esteemed families. David Hidley has served the school with unwavering loyalty and commitment since 1997, from rugby through karate and ice hockey, and then, oops. I think that was DHL Senior having a bit of fun with me. From rugby through karate and ice hockey, then on to the fairways of the golf course. DHL's passion for sport being done properly has been constant. In recent years, he has transformed the golf program from a participation sport to a consistent provincial contender. Already among the longest serving house directors in Shawnigan history, he has brought an inexhaustible commitment to the well-being of the young men of Copeman's House. In every area, he has brought to bear the perspective, experience, patience, and profound generosity of the true educator. Of him, it may truly be said that Shawnigan is a better place in a consequence of his continued service. David Hidley. Thank you. Good job. A Stag Award is presented to the keeper of these beautiful gardens, Edgardo de Mello. For the last 16 years, Ed has poured his passion into his work here, caring deeply that this magnificent natural setting would be enhanced and always show itself to its best effect. All who set foot on these grounds feel the same appreciation for the sheer beauty that surrounds us and for the care that has gone in to make it so. And it has become so normal for many of us to see Ed still toiling away at 8:30 in the evening or 9:30 in the evening, making sure that everything is just right before a big event. Ed has caused us all to share his pride, and it can rightly be said that Shawnigan is a better place in consequence of his continued service. Ed DeMello. Thank you. I did have to tell a little white lie or two to get him here. A Stag Award is presented to Naya Miranda, whose caring, steady leadership will be most certainly missed by the school community. She has indelibly written herself into a long history of inspirational student leaders by embodying the character attributes that we hold so close to our hearts here. Behind Naya's ready smile lies a fiercely competitive young woman who fully realizes the value of hard work and perseverance. She takes great pride in her school and has worked tirelessly to inspire others to represent Shawnigan to the high standard that we expect. But all the while, her innate compassion was always present. A loyal Groves head of house, she has inspired future generations of young women to work towards building a respectful and honest community where it is safe to be yourself. The positive impact of her work as Deputy Head of School cannot be underestimated, and she has set the bar high for the incoming school prefect group. It can truly be said that Shawnigan is a better place in consequence of her having been here. Naya Miranda, please. A Stag Award is presented to Maureen Connolly. Maureen has served the school for 22 years, mostly in some aspect of communications, adding her own personal flair to every publication and certificate produced. Her attention to detail and her extraordinary talent for highlighting all aspects of life at Shawnigan have put her signature on all the publications that the communications team creates. A mother of two young men, Maureen took the plunge and decided to try her hand at raising a multitude of girls. Mama C, as she is affectionately called in Strathcona, does exceptional work in the house. She is beloved by her girls and always puts them first, but keeps them in line and motivates them to expect the best from themselves. She's one of those people whose company you leave invariably feeling better, a special gift indeed. And it can truly be said that Shawnigan is a better place in consequence of the contributions she makes every day. Maureen Connolly. Good. All right. The next award is the Ravenhill Cup. It's for character and commitment, and it's going to be presented by Mrs. Lynn Robertson. It was originally presented by the founder by his friend and former owner of the land on which the school was built, in memory of that gentleman's son who was killed in the First World War. This trophy was first awarded in 1917 for efficiency and citizenship, and it was presented to a student outstanding in academics, sports, and citizenship. For many years, it became the award for citizenship alone, awarded each term. To honour both its origins and its more recent past, the trophy was named as above and was presented again at the Centennial Closing Day in June 2016. It will be awarded to the boy or girl in grades 11 or 12, the senior school, who has fully embraced all aspects of a Shawnigan education, with a particular emphasis on strength of character and commitment to our school community. As the motto on the cup says, candid and steady. This year's winner of the Ravenhill Cup is Naya Miranda. And the last award is the Groves All-Rounder. Mrs. Wendy Milne is going to present this. It's one of the premier awards for a school with our philosophy. The Groves All-Rounder is named after Captain James Groves, former governor. First presented in 1961, it is awarded for all-round excellence in academics, athletics, and fine arts. Name on the honours board in the main building. This year's winner of the Groves All-Rounder is Ivy Sang. Volleyball, basketball, rowing, stage management, for every production that went on in the theatre, 95% average. You get it, you get the flavour. Well done, Ivy. Okay, I think I'm going to swap positions now, Mr. CB. We're going to present our diplomas. I'm going to invite Mr. Stephen Wong, who's board member, forward to help me with this presentation. Stephen's fourth son is graduating today, the fourth of 5. And he's going to present the ties and scarves to our graduates.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It certainly is with great pleasure that I call forward the graduating class of 2018 to receive their grad certificates. From Lagos, Nigeria, 4 years in Strathcona House, school prefect, head of house, Oluwatobi Loba Akinyesoye. From Edson, Alberta, 4 years in Copeland's house, Dawson Anderson. From Chetwynd, BC, 3 years in Renfrew, Raquel Anderson. From Duncan, BC, 1 year in Duxbury, Dylan Annandale. From Norman Wells, Northwest Territories, 5 years in Renfrew, Naoka Bells. From Halifax, Nova Scotia, 3 years in Groves House, Ava Bampton. From Pattaya, Thailand, 2 years in Strathcona, Jilly Chayapa Barrett. From North Vancouver, BC, 3 years in Case House, school prefect, head of house, Hazel Bice. From Carlsbad, United States of America, 2 years in Duxbury, deputy head of house, Grady Burke. From Shawnigan Lake, BC, 5 years in Ripley's, Reese Bloomer. From San Diego, United States, 3 years in Ripley's house, David Barassa. From Vancouver, BC, 3 years in Renfrew, Chloe Brigden. From Calgary, Alberta, 3 years in Case House, Isabella Cabana. From Blakely Island, United States, 5 years in Groves House, Hallie Campbell. From Heritage Point, Alberta, 3 years in Groves House, deputy head of house, Madison Canyon. From Powell River, BC, 3 years in Lonsdale's house, deputy head of house, Vaihau Castagnoli. From Hong Kong, 4 years in Case House, Avery Champion. From Sicamous, BC, 5 years in Strathcona, school prefect, Maya Charleston. From Hong Kong, 2 years in Groves House, school prefect, Leah Sharon Duhamel. From San Diego, United States of America, 1 year in Lonsdale's, Isaac Che. From Changwon, South Korea, 5 years in Kay's house, Chloe Cho. From Seoul, South Korea, 5 years in Lakes House, Andy Choi. From Shanghai, China, 4 years in Ripley's House, Gavin Chu. From Kowloon, Hong Kong, 3 years in Lonsdale's, Bronson Chung. From Lake Cowichan, BC, 2 years in Case House, Amber Clayton. From Vancouver, BC, 4 years in Kay's House, School Prefect Zoe Colclough. From Whistler, BC, 4 years in Groves House, Lauren Crozier. From Toronto, Ontario, 4 years in Duxbury House, School Prefect Owen Cumming. From Calgary, Alberta, 4 years in Lonsdale's House, Ben Curley. From Kathmandu, Nepal, 2 years in Renfrew House, Tsewong Diki. From West Vancouver, BC, 3 years in Lakes House, Flynn Dowie. From Duncan, BC, 4 years in Lakes House, Luke Downey. From Hinton, Alberta, 3 years in Strathcona House, Emma Dreyer. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, 3 years in Renfrew, Julia Durães de Souza. From Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, 3 years in Copeman's House, Deputy Head of House, Daniel Engie. From Duncan, BC, 4 years in Renfrew House, Deputy Head of House, Megan Irwin. From Tuxtla Gutierrez, Mexico, 2 years in Copeman's House, Luis Espinoza Castillo. From Salt Spring Island, BC, 3 years in Lonsdale's, Stefan Escoval. From Mill Bay, BC, 4 years in Kay's house, Hannah Gibbs. From Prince George, BC, 2 years in Groves House, Megan Getkin. From Moscow, Russia, 2 years in Groves House, Alisa Golovkina. From Victoria, BC, 5 years in Lonsdale's house, Jackson Gregg. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, 2 years in Kay's house, Muskan Gupta. From Seattle, United States of America, 5 years in Strathcona House, Salamawit Gumu. From Calgary, Alberta, 4 years in Lonsdale's house, Andrew Harrop. From Victoria, BC, 3 years in Duxbury House, Deputy Head of House, Quinn Hayhurst. From Shawnigan Lake, BC, 3 years in Duxbury House, School Prefect, Ben Heck. From Georgetown, Cayman Islands, 4 years in Lakes House, School Prefect and Head of House, Ethan Hersant. From Happy Valley, Hong Kong, 3 years in Duxbury House, Caleb Hong. From Bangkok, Thailand, 3 years in Coatman's house, Nadal Hosakol. From Shawnigan Lake, BC, 5 years in Strathcona House, School Prefect, Deputy Head of House, Barbara Hidley. From Coquitlam, BC, 5 years in Ripley's, Deputy Head of House, Michael Ginn. From Penticton, BC, 3 years in Ripley's house, Dylan Johnson. From Canmore, Alberta, 4 years in Groves House, Melanie Jones. From Calgary, Alberta, 2 years in Groves House, Caitlin Kalau. From Cowichan Bay, BC, 3 years in Strathcona House, Kaliana King. From Calgary, Alberta, 3 years in Strathcona House, Shiza Kirmani. From Ufa, Russia, 3 years in Ripley's House, Damir Korniashek. From Ottawa, Ontario, 3 years in Duxbury, Alexander Kotsev. From Caracas, Venezuela, 2 years in Duxbury House, Hans Krohn. From Montreal, Quebec, Canada, 4 years in Lakes House, Charles Lamoureux. From Washington, D.C., the United States of America, 3 years in Ripley's House, Edwin Lauren. From Del Mar, United States, 2 years in Lakes House, Tyler Leibel. From Ladysmith, BC, 2 years in Lakes House, Scott Leslie. From Guangzhou, China, 5 years in Duxbury House, Leo Lee. From Shanghai, China, 5 years in Coatman's, Shiding Lin. From Surrey, BC, 5 years in Lonsdale's House, School Prefect, Head of House, James MacDonald. From Port Alberni, BC, 1 year in Groves House, Marina MacDonald. From Victoria, BC, 3 years in Ripley's House, Chase McKenzie. From Hamburg, Germany, 3 years in Coatman's House, Julius Meyer. From Hong Kong, 4 years in Duxbury House, Kyle McCallum. From Kamloops, BC, 2 years in Renfrew House, Georgia McClellan. From Calgary, Alberta, 2 years in Ripley's House, Michael Mell. From Cape Town, South Africa, 4 years in Ripley's House, Justin Miles. From Abbotsford, BC, 3 years in Duxbury House, head of house, Carter Miller. From Cobble Hill, BC, 4 years in Lakes House, Ethan Milne. From Millbay, BC, 5 years in Copeman's, Kyle Murdy. From Powell River, BC, 3 years in Strathcona House, Marissa Narduzzi. From Shawnigan Lake, BC, 4 years in Renfrew, Deputy Head of House, Hannah Narroway. From Armstrong, BC, 2 years in Renfrew, Julian Nelson. From Changsha, China, 2 years in Groves, Lena Ni. From Victoria, BC, 4 years in Strathcona House, Claudia Norris. From Dubai, United Arab Emirates, 3 years in Copeman's, Chris Norton. From Courtney, BC, 3 years in Lonsdale's, Ryan Novikowski. From Victoria, BC, 3 years in Copeman's, school prefect and head of house, James Petropoulos. From San Diego, United States of America, 1 year in Ripley's house, Stuart Pond. From Millbay, BC, 5 years in Groves House, Sky Rennie. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, 2 years in Renfrew, Victoria Romano. From Shawnigan Lake, BC, 5 years in Copeman's, Ben Rose. From Brentwood Bay, BC, 2 years in Strathcona House, Marissa Riles. From Umuarama, Brazil, 4 years in Lonsdale's house, school prefect Guy Sala de Melo Costa. From Craven, Saskatchewan, 3 years in Copeman's house, Caden Sauer-Kirzner. From Powell River, BC, 4 years in Lakes House, Deputy Head of House, Donovan Savage. From Machosen, BC, 2 years in Groves House, Deputy Head of House, Danica Serbic. From Oakville, Ontario, 3 years in Duxbury House, Jack Shaw. From Suzhou, China, 3 years in Case House, Christina Shen. From Vernon, BC, 4 years in Renfrew House, Anna Sholomenko. From Victoria, BC, 2 years in Kay's House, Jennifer Simonis. From Cape Town, South Africa, 5 years in Kay's House, Deputy Head of House, Hannah Smith. From Calgary, Alberta, 3 years in Duxbury, Dalton Sparks. From Briscoe, BC, 2 years in Kay's House, Lillian Spiegel. From West Vancouver, BC, 3 years in Copeman's House, Deputy Head of House, Lachlan Steverlink. From Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, 3 years in Groves House, Naomi Stobart. From Mill Bay, BC, 4 years in Copeman's, Noah Terran. From Vancouver, BC, 2 years in Lonsdale's House, Ryan Taylor Kuipers. From Maputo, Mozambique, 5 years in Lakes House, Deputy Head of House, Marcus Tzindi. From Mill Bay, BC, 4 years in Duxbury House, Connor Thiessen. From Nanoose Bay, BC, 4 years in Lonsdale's House, Chris Torrey. From Hanoi, Vietnam, 2 years in Lonsdale's, Lee Trong. From Hong Kong, 4 years in Kay's House, School Prefect, Deputy Head of House, Chu Ching Tsang. From Millerville, Alberta, 1 year in Lakes House, Riley Tucker. From Shawnigan Lake, BC, 4 years in Lakes House, Reese Tudor Jones. From Hoodsport, United States of America, 3 years in Lakes House, Brannon Underwood. From Mill Bay, BC, 4 years in Renfrew, Natalie Urquhart. From Celaya, Mexico, 3 years in Copeman's House, Fabian Vasquez Hernandez. From Kamloops, BC, 5 years in Strathcona House, Bobby Weir. From Revelstoke, BC, 3 years in Renfrew House, school prefect and head of house, Alexis Welch. From Cobble Hill, BC, 3 years in Copeman's House, Thomas Wilkie. From Masset, BC, 3 years in Groves House, Anna Williams. From Ottawa, Ontario, 2 years in Lakes House, Charles Wolfe. From Hong Kong, 4 years in Lonsdale's House, Colin Wong. From Campbell River, BC, 4 years in Lonsdale's House, Deputy Head of House, Nolan Young. From Hangzhou City, China, 4 years in Duxbury House, Frank Zhu. From Cobble Hill, BC, 4 years in Groves House, Deputy Head of House and Head of House, Naya Miranda. Deputy Head of School, correct. From Regina, Saskatchewan, 3 years in Ripley's House, Head of School, Head of House, Dean Mason. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if the headmaster did have pockets, they would be filling up with these mysterious little bits of plastic. I'd like to call on Dean and Naya to explain what is the graduating class's gift to the headmaster.
I'll just put this right here. On behalf of the graduating class of 2018, we would like to thank you, Mr. Robertson, for your many years of service to Shawnigan Lake School. You have impacted all of our lives in such a positive way.
Being the traditional Scotsman that Mr. Robertson is, we all know D-Rob loves the bagpipes. The graduating class would like to present to him with a framed photo of an original pipe tune called DBR's Farewell to Shawnigan Lake School, written by Colin McGee as a token of our gratitude.
I guess I'll just go ahead. Knowing that Mr. Robertson is not the best reader of music, we have arranged for this to be played by the Victoria Police Pipe Band. We are proud to be gathering on to the next chapter of our lives with you, Mr. Robertson. Please enjoy. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't.
Oh my goodness. Wow. All it says here in this little note is there is something happening here. Good. That was something happening there. Thank you, Pipers, as you depart. That was very, very special. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Naya. That was particularly special. I wondered what all those notes were that were happening. That was absolutely fabulous. Thank you. And now I'm going to ask Mr. Seaby himself to present a little keepsake memento to our head of school and deputy head of school. So Naya and Dean, you're back down here again. And as we move into the closing minutes now of our special ceremony, at this point I would like to ask the current group of school prefects to come forward and stand in front of the podium. I'm going to read out the names of the new school prefects, and they're going to do the traditional handover of responsibility. This is your last official task, ladies and gentlemen. Move along a wee bit. Thank you. So now I'm going to ask the new school prefects for the 2018-2019 school year to come forward and receive their crests and ties. Tolani Okinasoye, Maggie Banks, Jaden Bowmans, Kieran Breen, Paige Doig, Atusa Farbood, Roberto Galindo, Nathan Goliath, Maria Guadarrama, Isaac Leroy, Dalen Marlowe, Carolina Mies, Ali Milne, Caleb Parkhouse, Sarah Rourke, Carl Swanson, Jojo Tanaka Campbell, and Kerry Walker. School prefects, new group, stay. And as always at this point, with a bit of drama, because they don't know this information, but they have voted on their leaders, and the head of school for 2018-19 will be, actually I'll do the deputy head of school first. The deputy head of school will be Tolani Okinasoye. And the head of school will be Jojo Tanaka Campbell. Thank you, prefects. Back to work. Now we're moving into the closing act now of our ceremony. Please return trophies to the General Office immediately after the ceremony. Some of them were very valuable, and your name will be checked off as you return them. Invitation to tea and refreshments in Marion Hall and the Quad. Everyone very welcome, just after our last act. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the grads are making their way to the dinner hut. That's what it says here anyway. The grads are now making their way to the dinner hut. And I'll explain how we are doing our closing act of this school year slightly differently. So, impressed by the environmental responsibility of our most recent grad classes, we are going to blend the tradition of the balloon release with an approach we attempted last year, which again ends with us composting the balloons. Each member of the class is attaching his or her balloon, and you will see an arch rise very shortly when the last balloon is attached. At that point, I will do my traditional declaration, but I will do it from over there. So you have to bear with me, because Lynn and I are going to release a balloon as well. Remember, the word you're listening for is over. O-V-E-R. In a minute. So if you would turn your attention to the pond in front of you and bear with us. We haven't rehearsed this. What's your leg against this?
Clear out, and then you guys can walk down with your balloon.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this works, I will be absolutely amazed. I will go off happily into retirement.
What is it supposed to do?
So the grad class is going to line up over there, around the pond, and the photo moment will be when the whole cluster of balloons goes up in the air. But it shouldn't go up until we're all clipped on. And it's got a nice blue sky in the background. Will look lovely. I promise. There's always a huge symbolism here where some don't do what they're told, some fly off early, some do their own thing, some get a little caught up in the trees, and so it goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. The grad class of 2018 is about to fly free, and it's my great pleasure, before they jump in the water, to declare officially that the school year 2017-2018 is over. Thank you, everyone. They don't want to leave.